Namaste and hello everyone. My name is Shavika and I help you navigate life through my experiences, lessons, and stories. But today's video is not about me. About 4.5 years ago, I ventured into content creation during COVID and I started creating reels about self help content, something that I've been very passionate about since I was 12 or 13 years old. But since I started creating content, I quickly jumped into podcasts where I was interviewing international students and young professionals from all across the UK. I launched a podcast series called Life at University, been there, done that, interviewing students from different universities in the UK and talking about their experience as international student in the UK. After which, I also launched a series called Life After University, where I interviewed young professionals who had just graduated from universities and interviewing them about their life and what they were up to professionally since they have graduated from UK universities. And fast forward to today, welcome to another podcast series called Careers Beyond Degree, where I will be interviewing international students, young professionals, business owners, immigrants, and others who have been on this journey like you and me and have carved a life for themselves within the UK. So, like I always say, but this time let's get straight into the podcast because I have someone who has been a student ambassador, recently appointed as the student board trustee, and is doing some amazing things to navigate life in the UK. Also, she has some really interesting tips for the interview room when you're preparing for a job application. So, watch it till the end. Hi, Aditi. Thank you so much for joining us on this podcast, Careers Beyond Degree. And I'm so glad to have you and so glad that you decided and agreed to share your experience. Let's start with you talking about who you are, where you come from. Tell us a little bit about yourself and everything that you're doing in the UK right now.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Shivika. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Aditi. I'm doing my master's in University of Central Lancashire. I just shifted from India to UK in back September 2024, and like it's been 7 months now in UK in Preston. So yeah, I'm enjoying so far. The Preston has that homely feeling, which we love, and yeah, I'm looking forward to doing exciting stuff in uni.
Did you have like a culture shock when you first moved to Preston? What was your first impression about Preston when you moved here?
I think when you move toward from airport, you have that smell, which is of different smell of UK itself, the United Kingdom, which you land up in the Manchester airport, and that excitement, that fear, which you carried from your home country. So
Yeah.
it's like a mixed feeling when you enter into a different country and then you come to Preston. But yeah, of course, have seen my university first because I'm living in the student accommodation. So it was
Right.
just nearby to my university. So yeah, it was great.
Did you feel like where originally are you from in India?
I'm from Delhi.
So was it so I'm from Delhi myself. Was it a huge difference for you coming from Delhi to a smaller city like Preston?
Uh, yeah, you can say that. Like, in Delhi, Delhi was like a crowded city. But in Preston, when you come, you see a small number of people. There are hardly people walking around you, and there is so much of peace. In Delhi, you don't get peace.
There is no peace.
Yeah, so there is no peace. The metro city, and people are just moving here and there, busy with their own lives. I think, in UK also people are busy in their own life, but still there's some different stuff culture which I came across, which is different from Delhi to UK, of course, in Preston.
So if you had to say any two things that you found, if you had to make a comparison between a big city in India and then coming to a smaller city in the UK, what comparisons will you make that we have this in Delhi, say, and then this is something I've witnessed here. I was like, oh, what is this? Something so new.
Oh, so yeah, that could be in a culture shock, which I talk about. Like, let's say you're walking onto the streets, and in Preston, in UK, I think that's a culture of United Kingdom that people, just ask you, "Are you okay?" walking on the
Yeah.
streets. Like if you are not able to find the direction or something like that, so they will
Mm.
gonna ask you that, are you okay? So, this is not the culture we had in Delhi. Like people don't even bother to say hi if you don't know them. So of course we get an eye glimpse or we just smile to other people if we know them, but a person who is unknown to us, we do not tend to do anything with them.
Right.
So that's a different one thing which I have come across. And yeah, people are very friendly here. Like in
Mm.
Delhi, people were like, of course, I think I'm comparing Preston with Delhi. That's why it's like that.
Yeah.
I've not been to London, but that's the difference. But if I compare to Delhi, people are fast moving. Like the life is very fast moving, but not in Preston. So yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah, I sometimes tell my parents that Preston is for retirement. Like once you've done everything in
Yeah,
life, you worked hard, you've
yeah.
invested all your time and energy into everything. Now come here and relax.
Yeah. It,
Yeah,
it gives you that homely feeling, that peace, which you see. In Delhi, you will not get the peace.
yeah,
So it's like the metro voices and every other voice you can compare. I think you know that.
yeah. No, that is very true. I think when I moved to Preston, it's been hard leaving it now. And
Yeah.
it makes you feel very warm, it makes you feel like home. I tell my family back home that it's now my second home, because I know so many people, and it's become such a comfortable place that every time I think of moving from Preston, I'm thinking like, but where do I go? I know the opportunities are outside of this place, I very well
Yeah.
believe that, but then it's so hard. You can't
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah.
It's like your comfort zone, you can't leave this
Yeah.
place.
It's your comfort zone. Of course, I miss food. I'll
Hmm.
talk about that. Like I'll miss food a lot. But yeah, other than that, it's okay. And UK healthcare system, of course, like that's the one thing. But other than that, it gives you a homely feeling. Other than other cities, it's good.
Right. So you mentioned that it's been about 7 months you've been in the UK, and then you live in a student accommodation. You miss home. Take us through, I'm sure you must have set routines by now in life. So take us through what a day in your life is like. Do you cook yourself? What time do you wake up? And then if you're in a student accommodation, what is it like sharing your place with other students and common spaces? And what is it like in a day in your life?
Yeah, so if it's like a lecturer day, then of course it's like a normal day. You have to wake up, you have to cook for yourself, and then you have to go university and then come back from the classes, because I think I have uh, a lot hours of classes. So if I'm dedicating a day to my classes, then it's entire day to my classes. And then I'll just come back and then cook again. So half of my life is going in laundry, grocery, and cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, after coming here, yeah, which was not done back in Delhi, of course, because you are living with your family. You were, so yeah. So, but yeah, other than that, like if you talk about the normal days, if I don't have my university, I don't have to go to my university, then yes, I just hang out with my friends. I talk to my family, and I'm kind of a spiritual person, so I go to temple as well. And yeah, I'm engaged with a lot of university events. So I go there. So yeah, I have a planned week for myself, that yeah, on Sunday I just planned my week that I have to do on Monday, Tuesday, this, and yeah. Mhm.
Right. You know,
Mhm.
when you talked about that, how we have to do so many things here, right before we started this call, I was literally making lunch, washing dishes, and I was like, we are
Yeah.
starting at 2. I need to quickly wash these dishes, finish my lunch, and then sit down and have a coffee and start this podcast. And instantly I thought
Yeah.
in my head that if I was in India, I would have had to just sit down for the podcast and not worry about anything else.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
not
yeah.
worry
It's
about
actually
that I
like
have to
that,
cook food
And
and
it's
whatnot.
not just cooking. You have to eat it. You have to wash the dishes as well. So it's like a whole
Yeah,
process. So it takes time. I think my half of day goes on this, because we have like meals
true.
of the day. So
Mm.
yeah.
So, were you cooking back in India or did you start cooking here
Yeah, I cooked in like back in India, but not like for myself
as
or
much?
something like that. Yeah, as much, of course. Like my mom used to cook. So yeah.
So, you started like heavily cooking in the
Yeah,
UK.
yeah, yeah.
So, do you cook 3 meals a day? Do you take 2 meals a day?
sometimes if I'm busy, I eat two meals, and if I am
True.
like, if I don't have time, because I have that thing now that the ready to eat meals are very important here.
Yeah.
Like back in India, when we were like, we have to like dal, chawal, we have to eat everything.
One
But here,
sabzi, one dal,
yeah,
roti, and you have
yeah,
rice and
everything.
everything.
But here you see that you don't have to cook everything, because if you start cooking everything, then the time will be running up. So
Yeah. No, that's a huge transition even I had to make. You won't believe when I moved here in 2016, all I knew when I came here was to make how to make Maggie and how to make tea and how to make an omelette. These three things. That's it.
mm,
I did not even know how to cut an onion like that bad. And I used to order a lot of takeout food in the first 2 months until I had no money. And I'm like, what am I doing? How will I even have money if I have to, do things? I need to start budgeting my month and whatnot. And that's where I Googled my first video, which was how to cut onions, how to make pasta, how to boil rice, and all of that. I mean, it's not something to be proud of, but I think we're just never taught in India because there's always mums making food for us. There's
yeah,
more or less house help available who's doing that stuff for you in case you can't or your
yeah,
mom can't or somebody senior in the family cannot. But that's a big
yeah.
change. Now I make food. I'm amazing at it. I
Yeah,
just
we
made
become
you.
chefs, we become
We
cooks.
become chefs. You ask me
Yeah,
anything and I can give a tip
yeah,
on that.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, same with me. Like in 7 months, I've upgraded in the cooking level, so I can say
Nice.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I am handling myself really well now. So it's a
right.
very good experience. Like at the end of the day, when you go to sleep and you realize that you have done a, when you just walk on the roads and you just walk alone at the streets, you just have that feeling inside yourself that you have done something good,
Yeah,
and you what you wanted to do, like I had a dream of like studying abroad every like in my life, and now I'm actually doing it, so it's a wonderful feeling. And yeah, of course the struggles comes and downs, but after a time, after a day, at the end of the day, I realized that's a nice thing, and I've done
yeah.
a good job myself, at least what I wanted to do, I'm doing.
True. No, I think 2 days back when I woke up, I was making my bed and I got my coffee. I had some things around my room which I was all organizing it. And instantly in my head, I was like, shit, when did you become so organized? How did you become so responsible? Literally, I had that thought, like, how am I managing everything? Like in India, if you wake up, you're like, who cares what's happening? Go get your tea or coffee,
Yeah.
chill, wait for mom to make breakfast. And I woke up and I started setting everything around me properly. So instantly, my thought was, when did I become so responsible? And I was like, okay, whatever, life happens like that. But I
Yeah.
think this experience really changes you as a person. No, I was very
Yeah.
independent earlier also, but now I feel when we come here, because we have no help, we kind of start learning
Doing
things and
things
start
on our
doing
own.
things. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and back of the mind, when I was back in Delhi, I always used to think like, okay, if I had a problem, my mom, dad is there with me. But when
yeah,
I shifted to UK, there is back of the mind, that there is no one to help you out.
hmm,
So you need to figure your things on your own.
yeah,
Even the small things, you have to figure it on your own. And when I just shifted here, I realized like in I October or November, I like first 2 3 months it was hard, because you don't know how to live alone, you don't know how to carry yourself. So when you just travel somewhere, you're just checking your phone, you're just checking your keys, you're just
yeah.
checking yourself that is everything all right, is everything you have carried in a good way, or like have you not missed anything up. So that's
Yeah, with time you learn all of that. This country teaches you everything.
yeah.
So, quick question. Why did you choose the UK? Like, when did you make up your mind in India that I have to go abroad? That's one. And then why UK? And why
Okay, so
UCLan, for example? Like,
yeah. So, answering to your first question, I think I always wanted to study abroad, and when I just start working back in India, like for like I've worked a year in India, and I worked in a small medium enterprise in India, so I realized that there is no work life balance. Although I've not worked here as well, but
right.
still, the point was that the working, like they used to take my Saturday Sundays as well, which is very annoying for me. and like they like I just have to take my hours for myself. So the personal time which you say, the personal uh, care which you want, I was not able to give it. So that's where I just realized that okay, I have to do my masters. Like back of the mind, I know that I have to do my masters, but from where I was still unclear. But I realized that okay, moving to a different country will give me the global opportunities. And then I started researching about different countries. I researched about US, I researched about Australia as well. But the budget stuff, the budget friendly was coming into the UK.
Right.
So budget, looking to the budget, and 1 year masters, because in Australia there were 2 years of masters which I am doing my specialization in.
Right.
So yeah, so when I just searched about it, I just figured out that yeah, UK can be the best option because they have a 1 year of masters, they have a budget friendly fees as well, and I got the scholarship here as well. Like I've applied for the Australia and US as well, but I have not got the scholarship as much as I got here.
Right.
So yeah, and yeah, UCLan, because UCLan gave me the highest amount of scholarships, so that's where I can say, because I have applied to a different universities as well,
Okay.
but this is the university which gives me the highest amount of scholarship. Yeah.
And are you enjoying UClan?
Yeah, very much. The UCLan gave me a lot of opportunities so far. So as a universities, as a lecturers, as everything, like it's good. Overall, it's a
Tell
very
us
good
all about
place.
your opportunities because we know your LinkedIn profile is full of student ambassador work and student trustee board and whatnot. Tell us everything about it. How did you decide you wanted to have such a pivotal role during uni? It's not easy. I have been in uni and I don't think I did anything else apart from studying and sleeping. So, how do you manage,
So,
this balancing of academics, new life, and then also managing these different roles? How?
okay, so when I shifted here, see, like if you are coming to any other, like when you're shifting to a country, to a different country, back in Delhi only, I just started looking for the jobs. Of course, I was not able to apply, but because university provided us with the platforms like Indeed and Handshake, there is one platform which is Handshake. So I was just looking like what are the opportunities which are there. So I think I was bit lucky in this sense that I shifted here in September, and in
Right,
September it's a major intake. So they have a lot of job opportunities which were coming back, but the only point is that you have to apply. You have to
right.
apply, immediately when you arrive in UK. You don't have to, you don't have to waste your time. I know there are different, documentations are there. You have to apply for number of things, you have to done with your documentation. But I think you have to divide your time, you have to divide your time into two, and you have to grab that opportunity, because the student ambassador which you have mentioned, I think they will not recruit, they will not done their recruitment after a while, so they will doing the recruitment again in September, so next year. So I don't have an opportunity then.
Right.
So it's gone, it's gone. So opportunities are like that. You have to grab it.
So
So
you're
that's
saying you
how,
applied for student ambassador while you were in India?
no, when I came here, because I was not able to apply back in India. But yeah, I was
Okay.
searching. I was
Right. Okay. So
searching.
you
I
already
was,
prepared.
yeah,
You wanted to
yeah, I
take up
was,
these
yeah.
roles.
Because they
Hmm.
opened the job opportunity long back.
Right.
So you just have to apply, and yeah, and like you have seen in my profile that I am working as a campus ambassador as well in the student
Yeah.
circles. So I have applied for that in back in India.
Okay.
So yeah, so I remember that they have called me for the interview, and I was on the flight. So so I told them
Wow.
that just give me some time because I'm shifting to UK, and because they are, I'm not just the one as an international student. So they told me that okay, just give us the interview after you reach to UK. So
Yeah.
that's what happening. So I was managing, the visa and the documentation, and then I was, the moment visa came, I just start looking for it, because I know
Right.
now I have to go.
Hmm. No,
So
that's very smart actually because a lot of people get busy with shopping They get busy with feeling emotional about the fact that they're
Shopping
leaving.
was, yeah, shopping actually was of my mom. Like she helped me though.
Right.
She was doing everything of my shopping stuff. So yeah, in that stuff I just took
Left it on
took
her.
her, yeah, left her on here. And yeah, so I was like, please take care of that stuff. I'll take care
Right.
of my job because I have to go there and have to do it. So
Hmm.
yeah.
No, that's very smart because students start to focus on all the other things, but it's important to know that if you've decided once that this is the university and city I'm going to, start researching about the fact that what are the roles coming up for international students, what can I apply for, and getting into university roles is comparatively easier so that you have a CV building. Because if you start applying to other companies, they're like, you've not even entered, what are you even talking about? But university is promoting
Yeah.
students to take up roles, get that experience in, and get the skills in. So what happened when you came here? Like, did you just start on day one with a job in hand?
No, no, no. So basically, I was in the interview process, and then after doing the interview process, they have all the like three, four things in their hand, and then I just doing it. So then I was like, I want this job because this was my first job. Although it was a 0 hour stuff, but still, I was
Right.
like, "Oh, I want this first job." And yeah, so in October, on 20th September, I came here in UK, and
Yeah.
in October I got this job, and in November I got student ambassador. So like this, I achieved every other month, every other thing. So
Right.
that's how my profile build it up. Yeah. But when you get the first job, you get some senses that how to apply, how to look
Hmm.
forward to a job and how to get over this. So it's like a
Right.
first time thing. So when you get into it, it's easy for you. So when
Right.
then you realize how to tailor your CV, how to get, you know, interview calls. Yeah. So
I will get into the whole interview and finding jobs and getting a job in a bit. But before
yeah.
that, I want to ask that what is, if somebody wants to become a student ambassador, say going to whatever university they're going, what do they have to do? If you have to give them a small plan.
I think part-time jobs require your quickness. So, I think that's a adulting which hits me hard. That in the morning, when I wake up, I look to my mails. So,
Right.
this is how adulting hits you hard. Like, you're not looking to any other social media, but you're just going with your mails because this is how you have to be active on your mails.
Yeah.
I'm very much active on my mails because if you leave your mails, then maybe the opportunity will go away.
Go
So
away.
one thing which I think I can suggest is be active on your mails, be active on your mail IDs, and make them uh, I have to check it like every day. So that's my routine. And second thing, I think you have to be quick in responding the recruiter because no one is waiting for you here. Like no one is there for you to hand over you the job. You
Yeah.
have to, apply it. You have to be quick. You have to give them the whole process because I have got the jobs not in a one. It's not just like that. You're just applied and you got the job. No, they will call you for the interview. They will look at your cover letter. They will have some like in student circles. They ask me to prepare a presentation. They want me to give a video as well. So
Right.
every other job has their own requirements. So yeah, and that whole process takes time. So it's not easy. Like
Hmm.
if you go with the four processes, then it takes you 1 month.
Right.
So that's how you ended up with getting a job. So you have to be active and quick on this because it's like that. Let's say I've applied on Monday and then they're replying me on Wednesday or Thursday. Then I have to be quick because if I will be waiting on my end, then they will also take time on their end. So this
Yeah.
is how the process will, takes time and
So you
it
have
take
to
your one
quickly
month.
grab that opportunity the minute it comes to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So, you say you have to wait on your mailbox and, quickly reply. But where all did you apply that you started getting these emails?
I applied on Handshake. I got the whole
Okay.
opportunities on Handshake because the moment I get the admission in UPlan, I think it's of a UPlan thing, then
Yeah.
they gave me that Handshake portal. They say that you can apply from the jobs here. So they guided me
Okay.
on that. And you have
Right.
to research on that. Like, I think researching is very important you are applying to any other job, you are going to a different country, you are going for a different study or any other matter, you have to research a lot. So I researched about it a lot, that how it takes place, how the system works. You have to create your profile, how your recruiters will gonna reach you out. So
Right.
this will not be done by anyone else. You have to do it by yourself. No
Yeah.
one will just do it, because I have like met a lot of students, and their 3-4 months goes by and they don't even know about what is handshake is all about. So
Hmm.
and so this is how they're unaware about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you have to be active, and you have to take every other mails very seriously, because they are sending you just have to see it, and you know
Quickly reply.
yeah.
Yeah, because I feel also everyone, when we're in our home country, we see that it's a 1 year course, so it's going to be very quick, right? And we will be done with our masters in 1 year. But we forget the fact that 1 year means 365 days of every single day working on that thing.
You cannot believe this fact. My mom was saying me that, why you are in hurry? What do you want?
What's the
Like,
rush?
yeah. So I was having that conversation with my mom, and she's like, why are you in so hurry? And I'm like, I have 1 years of master, because after that 1 year, I'm not in the uni now.
Yeah,
So that's what is in my back of my mind, that university will go. So she was thinking that I'm in hurry, because I'm like, oh, doing this, doing that at the same time, at same point of time. So I'm like,
yeah,
no, it's just like that, it's a 1 year thing. So, because we are not a bachelor students, we are
yeah,
master students. So, we only have 1 year
yeah.
with the university, especially.
Exactly. And you have to make the most of it. If you want to take as much experience, skill set, or even the exposure, I think a lot of us move to the UK for the exposure. We want to learn so much and then go back, if we want to go back, for example. Then we're looking for exposure, but exposure will only come if you expose yourself to opportunities, if you
Yeah,
expose
exactly.
yourself to work, if you meet other people and expose yourself to that. And I feel a lot of students, like you said, 4 months have gone past and then they don't know what handshake is. They don't know so many different things because they are not bothered. They don't want to make that
Yeah.
effort. They think that they'll sit on their desks and jobs will come to them. I mean,
No,
I've seen
no,
CVs where I would look at
it's
the CV and I'm like, how are you even thinking to find a job with this CV? Like, how? So you're not even making the effort of 1 hour to research what a good CV is and create a CV. And then you're complaining there are no jobs. I mean, yes, it's hard to find a job, but then get the basics right first of all. I feel,
yeah, yeah, that's
which a
true.
lot of people miss out on.
Yeah, a lot. Like, I have met a lot of students, and I'm surprised. I'm like, why? Yeah, you need to be quick on this, especially the master's students,
Yeah,
because for the bachelor's, I'm like, okay, still you have years. If you
yeah.
will not become a student ambassador in 1 year, then you will become in second. So it's not a big deal. But for the master's students, yeah, you have to
You don't
grab
have
most of
time,
it.
so rush, rush, rush.
Gosh, yeah.
Also, tell us a little bit about your new role as a student trust board. What are you doing in that, and what are your roles and responsibilities? It sounds like a very responsible role, so I want to know what does it feel like.
Yeah, so even though I have also attended one meeting so far, because in upcoming weeks or so.
Yeah,
So basically, we don't have to, like, our just job, like, as a student, we are a current student, so we will be in the board meeting with other chairman and trustees, and we will be advising, and we will be giving the suggestions which we are experiencing, that is just quite challenging. So, like, for now, we were discussing to expand the work hour limits in the
hmm,
UK. So of course
right,
it's not on our hand, but yeah, at least they can advocate to the government that actually we are facing a problem with the 20-hour work limit, because
right,
we are not able to do the volunteer jobs, because it's also counted in 20-hour work limit. So
right,
that's what are the point of discussion when we sit in a board meeting, or in a meeting. And because as a student we can understand that, so the
yeah,
purpose of making a current student sitting in that board meeting is to have a current scenario,
right,
and we are the best people to tell, okay, what are the challenges, what we can make a betterment. So we can I give some suggestions, we can give some ideas to the board people,
right,
and they can just, and yeah, we discuss the budget as well. We discuss that how much we can proceed, and how many activities or events we can look for. So yeah,
right.
that's all.
So I should send all students to you if we want a major change in the
Yeah.
UK.
No.
Because a lot of students are saying the salary hike is too much, so maybe they should come to you and you can discuss it for the
That's a
skilled worker visa.
that's actually a problem. Like pressure is a problem, but yeah, we can only suggest. Of course, it's like from the higher level if
Yeah.
they want to, because we have like in the last meeting we have the resolutions which we can say. So many
Okay.
students put their resolutions, and we have a voting system as well. So we voted for that, so that
Right.
we actually want this change. So it's not only about work hour limits, but we discuss about the reforms as well. So we talked about reforms, we talk about the work hour limits expansion, we talk about the grants which students can be provided after they switch to PhD or like higher studies.
Yeah.
So we talked about all of these things. Yeah.
That's amazing. I feel you're in a very responsible position with all the roles that you have, and you have worked really, really hard to get those roles, and you've been alert enough and smart enough and responsible enough to, navigate that for you. When I was an international student, I did not know all of this. I mean, I was one of the students we were just talking about who 4 months into university did not know what handshake is, for example.
I have met a lot of students like that. Oh, I feel like, oh my God, what you're doing?
Mm.
Why you are
Now
like
I
that?
I think we kind of take things very lightly. And by the time, a lot of time has passed, and we're just thinking and looking back, oh gosh, we wasted so much time.
I think it's like a inner motivation as well, Shivika, because I think, for me, like I'm an ambitious person. Like I
Yeah,
don't need motivation for all of these things. I'm
right.
like, back of the mind, I'm like, do this, do that. I have to apply for this. So I don't require this kind of a motivation with anyone because in my personality trait is like I'm ambitious. So yeah.
That's amazing because I read somewhere where it said that you don't need motivation even on days when you don't want to show up because then your discipline works. So you're disciplined enough to even if you're not feeling motivated, you're like, no, but this is what I want, so I will keep working towards it, even if I'm not feeling like
Yeah.
it today.
Yeah, though I
That's
am
something
lazy, I
amazing.
know. I am lazy. I sometimes become a lot lazy. I don't want to do anything.
Yeah,
But if it's important, like keep an eye on that, at least be self-aware. So I think, the major problem nowadays is that, students, okay, I know the part-times are important. I know that students have to work outside the uni, but at least you should be aware about what is happening inside the uni
yeah,
because at first you are a student, so they don't know what exactly happening inside the university, and they are not aware about it.
yeah,
Some things are happening just in front of them, but they are clueless.
right.
So because university is giving a lot opportunities and like specific opportunities, and whenever I lose any opportunity I feel so bad
Yeah.
because here and there, because I have to give some time to other things. So past back I got sick, so in that past 2 weeks I have to turn down opportunity, and I felt so bad. I'm like, "Oh, why
Oh.
why I have to do that?"
Yeah. Keeping in mind, you've carved out so many opportunities for yourself, and you have given so many interviews, cleared them, and you were at such important roles in the university. If I ask you, like a lot of students are preparing, will be preparing for interviews very soon for their corporate life or for whatever job they want to apply here or in their home country. What are some of the interview tips that you have for international students or even local students or professionals? Something that you've discovered? You mentioned you've also worked in India. So, have you noticed? I mean, this is the second part of the question. Have you noticed any kind of difference in the style of interviewing as compared to India?
Yeah, okay. So if I talk about interview tips, I think one first can be aware that let's say I'm going for a university interview, okay? So I have to research about university well. I have to research about about the role as well because they will gonna surely ask you about the role, why you are interested, why you want to apply for this role, what makes you, and you have to give some honest answers, I think, because if you are giving wrong answers, they will gonna pick you up that why you want this because I think students do that because they want to show great in front of recruiter, or they want to show in front of like. So I don't think so that's working. You have to be honest that okay, this is so your experience, you have experienced this, you this is a life story. I think life story can be the best example to give in interviews. So if
Yeah.
you explain in from your point of view that okay, this is so I have experience and that's why I'm like this. So I think this can be a way better option and sitting in an interview. And secondly, I think this is the only thing in interview. And yeah, you have to be smart enough. Like if you're going for an interview, of course, wear don't wear casuals. Of course, go for a business attire because
Especially in the
business
UK,
professional.
they're all about dressing
Yeah,
professionally.
and they were actually, so in one interview, I remember they actually, because I was not well at that time, but still I sit for the interview.
Yeah,
So they asked me that they actually judge me on like from head to toe that what I'm wearing, and I'm like
yeah,
yeah, because at that day I was not wearing business attire. I was just went to a casual meeting. So
yeah,
then that's where I realized I'm like no, I'm out. I'm
yeah.
out now.
Mm,
So that's very important. So your attire is very important, and how you present yourself, it's very important, and how you come and how you go, it's very important, because from starting to the end they will gonna see you, how you open the door, how you sit, how you talk to them, how you shake hands, because I've seen recruiters shake hands and generally they say that nice to meet you, see you
yeah.
soon, like this they give you gestures. So yeah.
So some things
uh,
that you can say about, so for example, you've mentioned that it's important that when you're entering a room, you should know what to do. When you're sitting down, you should know, have a firm
yeah,
handshake and
yeah.
make conversation. And while leaving, so say three things if you had to talk about in an interview room, what would you say that make sure that these three things are up to the mark when you're entering an interview room?
Okay, so you're talking about in terms of questions, right? Like what questions they can
Not
ask you.
questions in general, it can be anything, like for example, have a firm handshake. You've mentioned about this. What about,
Yeah,
what other details should an interviewee be careful of when they're entering an interview room?
you have to greet them for sure. Like if you're entering into a room, you have to greet them and you have to listen to them, because some of the recruiters they talk a lot. Like
Hmm.
I have spent like my highest record of interview was like one hour. So
Right.
it was just continuously she was asking and I was giving answers. And I'm like, okay. So in that conversation, I was not the only one who was speaking. She was also one who was
Speaking.
speaking from front. So you have to listen what exactly they, and the best way to communicate in the interview is to listen the interview and frame the questions from that. So I do that. So I do
Nice.
that. Yeah. So I do, because that's where the conversations goes. Because if they will gonna surely ask you that, do you have any questions in the last? Every other recruiter will gonna ask you that do you have any questions from us? So do ask them,
Right.
because if you ask the questions from them, then they will gonna see that you have researched about it. So
Right.
ask the questions from them about their company, about the role, and and just make them feel that you're looking forward to join this company or looking forward to join this university or like the role, of
The
course.
role that you're applying for.
Yeah,
So what is
yeah.
that one question you ask the interviewers?
Yeah, that like if I'm giving the HR interview or something, like because earlier on, like if I'm giving an HR back in India, if I used to give, so they asked me that, like I've asked them that what is the retention rate of the company, because I'm very much interested in the retention rate, because if the
Right.
retention rate is low, then the probability is that they will gonna, I also want to leave the company soon.
Right.
So because of the pressure, because of the team
Culture
load,
there. Yeah.
culture there, yeah. So this is one thing I asked them, and I have asked them about their challenges which they are facing. That's why they are recruiting more people. So what the
Right.
current challenges they face? Yeah, these are the questions I ask. And if you're going for the university role, I do not ask the challenges stuff. But yeah, of course, I ask about the role, that how exactly the roles looks like, when will the training gonna takes place? Because of course they will gonna train you for each role. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's nice. That was a short, informative session on interviews where anyone who's struggling with interviews, I think that's the most overwhelming part where
Course,
interviewees feel
I
that
also
we
have
don't know how to do
to.
it.
I also have to learn a lot now. But like till now, what I've learned, I shared.
That's what we want to know, because you have been there, done that, so you can give others the insights, like things like
Yeah.
have a firm handshake. Everybody's reading about it, but then nobody is doing it. Or, for example, listen to your interviewer, they have something to say, and then frame your questions from that. I don't think people pay attention to those small details. So it's really nice that you've mentioned that, because those are important points which I feel international students or even young professionals kind of miss out on. And something that I've most commonly heard is that, I've done everything. My CV was great. I did my interview. And just at the interview stage, they told me that I'm rejected. I said, why? Because the interview did not go well. Now, I feel that these are small details that combine together and make your interview good or bad.
Um, yeah, but Shivika, I think in UK there are many more other reasons to get rejected. So if any student is listening to this podcast, so I would say that do not discourage, because I also get
Definitely.
rejected from many interviews just for the sake because I'm on visa, or maybe I cannot take up the full time roles because I'm a student, so I cannot
Yeah.
take full time roles. So many other recruiters or many other roles required have a different requirements, so they will not accept you, although they will gonna take you from one stage, second stage, or like they will gonna accept your application, or maybe their internal stuff is going on, and in the end they will gonna say that you're not selected. So there can be a number of reasons for that. Maybe
Yeah.
your visa, maybe they cannot sponsor you, because many like I have seen many recruiters, they straight away tell me that we do not sponsor, we do
Hmm.
not provide sponsorship. So that can be the one reason they are afraid to take an international student. So yeah, this is a problem which we face.
No, I absolutely. That's a very important and very useful point you've mentioned, because very recently I've not come across, some of my friends who were really, really talented, and they've worked in some amazing companies in London and all across the UK. Just the
Yeah,
minute when they needed an extension on their visas, for example, their post study work visa was expiring or their student
yeah,
visa was expiring, and they have the skills, they have the talent, they have the confidence, they have the communication skills, the soft and the hard skills, everything they've got, but the company hasn't gotten a license, or they've got the license and they don't want to sponsor. So I've heard my friends saying that, I feel there's a problem in me. I feel I don't have the skills. I feel I'm not talented enough. And then we would sit down and have these conversations saying that every rejection does not mean there's a problem with you,
yeah,
which
exactly.
is a very crucial point you've mentioned. I mean, this is a very generic conversation in the sense that it is for anyone who's applying anywhere across the world. But if
Yeah,
we just really, really point it, or, if we just point at the fact that international students who come here are also looking for sponsored jobs, and employers who have the license don't sponsor them, it's a humble request. I think both of us can make that request, that if at all you've given your 100% to an interview or to an application, job application, if you still don't get through, don't consider yourself any less just because of that.
yeah, exactly.
Because you have the degree, you have the skills, you have the talent, you may also have the experience, but just because an employer doesn't have the license, don't think that you are any less than anyone else in the UK.
Yeah, because I think if a student is reaching to the last stage of process, I think he or she is actually talented, or I think they
Yeah,
are capable enough to reach out that level. If your application is getting rejected, that's a different cause. But if you are getting to the stage of interviews and then you are getting rejected, that can be a different reason. And
yeah,
the worst part is the recruiters do not give us the feedback. So my major concern is about the feedback. Like if you give me
yeah.
the feedback, I will gonna improve it, because I am here
Mm.
to improve myself. Like, okay, this is the stuff I can improve on it. But they do not have any particular reason of rejecting us just because
Yeah,
we are international student. So that's how they do it, and they do not give feedbacks. So
yeah.
feedbacks are very much important. I do ask them in front that give the feedbacks, but they say that we just move forward with other applications. So yeah.
Yeah, so don't be disheartened, don't be dejected,
Yeah.
because when you're in a different country, I explained that to some other people I speak to, that when you're in a different country, don't weigh your skills based on the acceptance and the rejections you're getting, because there's a lot of other things happening. Supply and demand, what skills are in demand in the country, and then
Yeah.
your visa restrictions, and then where you're coming from, what's happening in the world, that now suddenly UK has stopped bringing in more immigrants because
Yeah.
there's been so many coming in and whatnot. So it's important to also stay very aware of what is happening on a day-to-day basis, so that as a human you don't feel I'm good for nothing, right?
Yeah,
Because that
exactly.
feeling starts to creep in when you've done, I know people who tell me I've done 150 applications, all rejected. How will you feel after that? Even one rejection comes, you feel like you're broken. Imagine 150 rejections.
Yeah, but there is I think if application is rejected like 150 times, then there is a problem with the application, of course. Like,
More than that, no, it's sometimes even the application is good, but the company is not ready to sponsor. So, how is anyone going
yeah,
to help
that
you
can
in
be a
that?
problem.
Sometimes
Yeah,
you just have to make up your mind to either pivot to a different industry where there are sponsorships, or
yeah.
move back to your home country or some other country where your skill is in demand. I think that is a point which a lot of people miss out on. You need to know where your skill is in demand. If your skill is not in demand in the UK, nobody's going to invest the time, energy. I mean, one employer literally told somebody I know that we don't have the resources to sponsor you. We have the license, we won't sponsor you because we don't have the resources. You're the best person for this role. They still, I
uh,
mean, up until like the last 2 months, I think they still hadn't found a replacement for that person. But they said, no,
yeah.
we can't sponsor you. We don't have the time, no resources. We can't invest in you. And then I was like, and she's so good. But you can't do anything about it. That's
Yeah,
how it works. And
yeah.
having the acceptance and awareness is just amazing. But moving to a different segment of this conversation, I understand we've talked about jobs. Everybody knows it's a struggle. Everybody knows interviews are a struggle and applications are a struggle. What are some of the other challenges you've faced as an international student since you've moved, or as a professional now that you've
Overall,
worked a little bit? Overall, yes, overall, what are the
overall, yeah.
challenges? Yeah,
Of course, the culture shock is always there. Like I told you in the starting of the conversation, that how they greet you, the queue system, it's
yeah,
different. Like in India, we do not face all of these things. And some of them are really nice. Like I have seen that in UK, there is a work-life balance. But back in India, where I was working, there was no.
right,
So yeah, so that was one thing which is different. And yeah, of course, the food is different. Like I'm struggling with the food. I'm struggling with the food a lot. And
yeah,
when you get sick, you struggle with the healthcare system here. So when I got sick back, so I realized that the healthcare system was very far good in India than in UK, because they takes a lot of time to book your appointment, and then although I was, of course, I have an appointment in like 2 or 3 days, but when you are sick, you're not in a zone
yeah.
to, to get everything by your own. So that's
It's like
one
your head is
cultural.
aching now, but they're telling you take the
Yeah.
medicine 3 days later. So how does that
Yeah,
work?
yeah, that's either the person will get okay, or something will go happen with them.
Something's gonna go totally
Yeah.
north. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's useless.
Mm,
So, yeah, so that's a different thing. And yeah, of course, the curricular system is different here. The
right,
academics is different. Like they are more towards a practical oriented approach. They take more practical, the research based. But back in India, we do not like, we have theory approach. We
yeah,
are more focused on the theory stuff. So that's what the difference is. And yeah, like the system of being a student ambassador. So, of course, we are getting paid on the student ambassador, but it's more of like a marketing of an university. So when you
right,
make like, so basically they told us that we are the face of the university, because whenever we have to because we have a different roles. We have to go for the open days, we have to go for the offer letter days as well, and we have to interact with, like, I have a campus tours as well. So being a student ambassador, I got to know about my university, that,
right.
what all were situated, like what all the buildings are, because UCLan is such a big university.
Yeah,
So while taking the campus tours and, explaining about what our university offers, you also get to know about it. So whenever I am talking to someone, or like, people around me, I'm like, oh, this is one thing which I also get to know. So it's not only I'm talking to you as well. I am also the one who is new to this information.
right.
So this is how you learn. So I really like the concept of having a student ambassador in your university. It's like a kind of a marketing or branding your uh, university, your own university. Yeah.
Right. So, did you face any financial challenges when you first moved, or were you very good with money since you were like younger?
Uh, yeah, of course. So, a financial, not as such, I faced a financial issue, but back of the mind, I always have that thing in that, I always have to select a budget-friendly university
Option.
because,
Right.
yeah, because more or like every other university is same.
Yeah.
You just have to grab it. Like, even if you go to the Oxford, Cambridge, and you're not doing anything, there is no use. And even
True.
if you're coming to an average university or any university and you have grab everything, that I think that's more
No, but by
um,
finances, I mean, like, for example, when I moved to uni, I had a tough time managing my expenses. So, for example, whatever allowance I was given from my home, I did not know how to do my personal finance, like how would I would budget, how I would spend money in shopping or eating out or whatever needs that I had. Did you have something similar as I mean, issues like this, or
in
were you good
first
with
month,
personal
yeah, of
finance?
course. In first month, you have that budget because you came with from your home that okay, this is we need to spend. So at
Yeah.
first, I thought of that because like, this money we're gonna spend like this. But when you have a job, when you started with your part-time jobs, then I think it settled you up. And then you
Okay.
realize that okay, how you have to manage because if you talk about the food and cooking, I'm doing cooking at my home mostly.
Right. Right.
And even if I want to socialize, I go not go a lot. So that's where you just minimize your spending.
Right.
That's the major, uh, I think, the perspective or the basis which you can take your spending down.
Okay.
That's
And
one thing.
where do you think international students are spending most of their money apart from rent?
Food.
Food.
Food,
Yeah.
yeah. Because we have, of course, because we are not getting the home food, so we go out and we crave
Hmm.
for that home food because we can't cook everything. So we
Yeah.
go beyond to that. And of course, like everyone has their own needs, so they
Yeah.
are spending on that. And clothing as well, I think, because when you arrive in September, you need to shop for winter because you are not prepared for that.
Prepared to it.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, you need uh, because we need to wear in layers here.
Yeah.
Like we cannot just pack everything and come up.
Yeah.
So I think major spending would be on food and of course on the transportation.
Hmm.
If you get the job like outside your city or like far away from your uni or accommodation, then of course transportation.
Transportation then.
Yeah.
If I had to ask you, like, before we were having the conversation that you've just started cooking in the last 7 to 10 months, if you had to give one tip to someone who's just starting out cooking, what would that be?
I think be experimental. I
Right.
experimented a lot in my kitchen,
Yeah.
like because I think I own it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, of course, like at first I had we were living six of them together. So I usually don't get the kitchen for myself, but I experimented a lot because it's we are cooking for ourselves. It just you have to be making a fire safety, of course, because they're very
Yeah.
much sensitive about the fire alarms here. But other than that, I think you need to be experimented enough. Try new dishes. Try
Yeah.
new. Don't be afraid of like. Don't sit at your comfort zone and go. Just you don't have need. Just you don't know how to cook. You're going outside to eat food. I think you can cook in your kitchen and you can just experiment it.
Right. And if I had to ask you that, what are the three skills that you would tell any international student or a young professional who's just moving with a work visa or a student visa to the UK? If they had to pre-prepare, like before coming, what are the three skills you would say they should definitely invest some time in back in their home country so that when they come here, the move is easier?
I think first of all, I am facing a lot of issues in adjustment. So you
Right.
have to adjust a lot, like with your friends, with your university, with your
Flatmates.
every flatmates. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that was the most, with them you have to adjust the most. So
Yeah.
adjustment is one skill which you need to build up when you are coming here. And yeah, I
Right.
think second skill is that don't being afraid of being alone. I think that would be the
Yeah.
second skill because there's many times which you will feel lonely and there will be no one around you. So you have to make yourself like, okay, this time will gonna pass and good time will gonna come. So because I've seen many students, they're afraid of being alone. They every time they want someone around them. So I think, of course, being friends, having friends is very good thing. But sometimes, you know, things changes, friendship changes. Do friends also changes when you come here? Their priorities change, your priorities change. So every time you cannot be together.
Yeah.
So that can be one thing. Second thing, yeah, these are the two things which, and of course, the third is I think third is the acceptance of the culture. So if you're talking to someone and, like, let's say they are not accepting what you're saying, or like, let's say they make fun of your accent, or like they just say bad thing about it. So you need to be accept. You just increase your acceptance power that this is happening because you moved to a different country,
Yeah,
and within a period of time you will able to attain it.
definitely. Yeah. I think those are three very good ones. And I've done previous videos and podcasts and conversations, and nobody has mentioned these three things.
Mhm.
So it's kind of enlightening. But I agree with all three of them, and especially the part where you say acceptance. It's a new country, it's a new culture. People are different, you're different, and you're also meeting people from your home country who are also different. So it becomes difficult to adjust with them because you've never done that before. When you're
Yeah,
home,
exactly.
you can just be yourself. Nobody cares.
Yeah,
Nobody says anything to you. But when you move to this new country, then everything changes. So it's important to, feel comfortable in your skin, but also be open to new challenges. That, yes, now whatever comes my way, I'm going to adjust. I'm going to be nice.
yeah,
And even things like when people making fun of your accent or whatever, I feel that is going to happen because earlier I used to feel a lot of different things about it, but now that I've met so many different nationalities, everyone has their own accent, so you know less. I feel every
yeah,
time
exactly.
anyone from India feels like, I don't have the confidence to talk, or I am not able to talk properly, or I'm not able to understand somebody from a different nationality. And I have friends from a few different nationalities, and they face similar issues with people from England. So you know less.
Yeah,
Point being that you're not alone in this journey. Everybody struggles.
yeah, everyone
Everybody's
is,
trying
yeah,
to learn and adjust and feel better about themselves because
yeah,
it's just a new experience. So anything new is
yeah,
outside of your comfort zone, and it takes time.
yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Also, on the part where you mentioned that you know don't feel lonely. You may be
Yeah.
alone a lot of times, but don't feel lonely. Tell me about a time when it's been 7 months and I know that this does happen. I feel alone a lot of times. So, has there been a time where you felt very, very lonely by yourself, missed home? Um, does it have any mental impact, on your mental wellness? And if yes, how do you cope with that? So, this is basically me trying to understand for any new person who's moved here, how do they manage their mental well-being, mental wellness, keeping in mind that you spend majority of your time alone.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I felt alone when I got sick. So that was the time when, because technically I was not alone. My friends used to come to my flats. So, but you want that family care and love, because back home you were in, with your family. So that was missing, and that was I was missing majorly. So that homesickness, like after 6 months, hit me hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, that time I felt a little lonely because I was like, because you have to cook. You have to take care of yourself, and straight for like 4 days, nothing is happening, and you're just facing it, because I was not able to sleep well as well because I was sick. So all of this pile up, and you realize that I came here, and why that stuff happened. So yeah,
Right.
so that time I felt lonely. But at the same time, when I feel lonely, I think the question which you asked, that how to cope up with it, of course, I talk to my family. Like I talk to my mom, dad a lot that time.
Yeah.
Because yeah, best option. Like I just call my mom and dad, and they used to, talk to me, and they were like, okay, everything will be okay. Okay. Of course, they also, being worried about me, they also become stressed at that moment, but at the same time they are like, okay, that it would be okay, come back to India if you want, and just stay for a while and then go back. So that's how, you cope up. And of course, I am a spiritual person. So I always find a nearby, temples or something, and I go there. So, if I'm really worried or stressed or something, I go there and just vent it out. So,
And then you feel better.
yeah.
No, I think that's one of the top tips, that just get in touch with your family. That's the best thing,
Yeah.
because the way they can nurture you even from a distance, just to even ask things like, have you had food, did you
Yeah.
have a uni day today, did you go for
Yeah.
a job, things like that. And just having those little conversations, you start to feel connected with the world again, because being
Yeah.
in your own room, being in those four walls and not connecting with anyone, and even if you're connecting, sometimes you just feel lonely because of things like you're not feeling well, because of things not working out for you, or the weather is shit in this country, so you can feel all sorts of things at any time.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
cope up with that. I feel, yes, it's important to keep in touch with your family, even friends from
Yeah.
back home. Keep in touch with them,
Yeah.
because they kind of bring you back to older memories, and then you start to have those conversations, you start to feel good about yourself again. And
Yeah.
something that I also recommend to a lot of international students is to go and join societies or be part of groups that align with your interests. So like, for example, if you like to do karaoke, then find pubs or find university groups, or societies where you can do that, because it makes you feel.
Yeah.
Example, I enjoy dancing. So any
Yeah.
dancing, I'll go for it, because it will just cheer me up as a person.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
any kind of activity like that will just make you feel happier. So you feel good about yourself and not feel like, oh, where have I come? I need to go back.
Yeah.
No people who've gone back in 2 days. So it's not easy. And
Yeah.
they've just felt, where the hell have we come? So
Yeah.
it's a good thing to have the acceptance that it's going to be a new place and new people will be there. Did you find it difficult
Yeah.
making friends?
Yeah. I'll be honest on this because, uh, yeah, because back in India, I used to live with my family. So, even if I'm going to university and coming back to it, so it's like a family family uni. So that's what's happening. And even in the office as well. So we just work and come back or work from home. I had a work from home. That's a stressful stuff.
India,
So in India,
gosh,
yeah.
working from home. Yes,
Work from home, yeah. So that was a stressful thing. So when I came here, adjusting to the, adjusting to the flatmates. So at first I got a very good flatmate. So I will not say that because they were all Japanese. They are the most happening people I have ever met. So they are very sweet. They are very cute. So I tend to hang out with people who were different from my, like let's say Japanese or Britishers because I have a lot of Britishers at my class. So yeah, so I talk to them as well. But like, of course, like the day you go, you will not make friends like that who you can trust. Although I have some of the friends back in Delhi who came there with me here as well because I've attended one event in Delhi and there we met. But since they were also adjusting they because they just come few days back when I came, so
yeah.
they don't know much about it, although they helped me out. But they were also figuring out what the what all the weather is all about, what all the country is all about. So yeah.
But eventually settled.
Yeah, eventually I'm settling.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Aditi, for your time today. And I truly
Yeah.
appreciate that everything that you've shared about your life, your professional life, moving to the UK, and everything that's been going on. Do you have any final words for anyone who's watching this video?
Thank you so much for calling me a Shivika, first of all. And yeah, I hope if anyone would get any good learnings from this video and from this podcast, and surely the things will gonna change and you will gonna feel better. So any student who is struggling right now, they will gonna feel eventually better. And this up and downs happens in everybody's life. So yeah.
Part of life, part of this.
Yeah, part of life. Yeah.
No, it's been a pleasure to thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much.